of radio station KMET, its management, employees, or affiliates.
It's time to steer the line.
Touchdown!
Sports betting, fantasy football, and the latest NFL news. Featuring Loud-Desmond, Christian Giordani, Rocky Giordani, and Jeremy James. Bet on us to make you a better better.
What?
Let's get ready to steer the line.
Good afternoon, folks. Welcome to another segment of Steer Line. I'm your host and stats analyst, Christian Giordani. Alongside of me is our professional sports handicapper, Loud-Desmond. Loud, how are you doing on this fine June Friday?
Well, I'm doing great. I'm excited. We're within 2 months of the first NFL preseason game. We're within 3 months of the kickoff of the NFL season, and we're about 10 weeks from week 0 of college football, which is the kickoff of the college football season.
Yep.
And there's some schedule changes that are going to radically alter your October and November and December, and I'll get to those as we go along. Christian, how are you? You're very warm, you look like.
Yes, it is hot in Southern California today. In the Inland Empire, it cooled down to about a nice 89 degrees. Right? Yes, sir.
Yeah, so you're up in the desert.
Yeah, it cooled off to a nice 89, 91 degrees.
We gave the Native Americans all the prime land.
Of course. Everyone did my people great.
Yeah, way to go. What, 106?
Yeah. It was 106 earlier today. It's finally cooled down to about 89, 91.
Gosh, what was it, a high of 68 here today? Maybe 60, 68, 69 degrees, gray and overcast. By the way, we have one day next week we get over 70. So, I can this is the kind of summer weather I can live with. God love the Inland Empire and bless the people that live there, but summer there is miserable as far as I'm concerned.
All right, everyone, let's get right into the NFL news. The biggest signing of this week goes to Trevor Lawrence, now the third highest paid NFL player in history, which equals out to 5 years, $275 million, with 200 guaranteed at signing. Loud, is this an overpay, underpay, or just right for Trevor Lawrence?
I don't know. I might pay Jennifer Lawrence that money for like a 6 or 7 picture deal. Look, let's be honest. He hasn't won anything.
No, he's won one playoff game that he had to come back from.
Derek Carr won a playoff game. Anyway, and we have more Derek Carr news to get to in the show, by the way.
All right.
Jennifer Lawrence, I'm sorry, the Brett girl. No, wait, what's his name?
Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence, yes. Okay.
T-Law.
This is a sign of the apocalypse, honestly. We are paying nothing quarterbacks insane amounts of money because there's so few of them. And if you don't have a great quarterback, you're not winning an NFL championship. Now, there have been not great quarterbacks that have won, but I think the days of like a defense like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers carrying whatever his name was to the championship, or the Ravens defense carrying Joe Flacco to an NFL championship, are gone. I just don't think with the rules the way they are that you're ever going to see
another Legion of Boom, another steel curtain.
No, I just no. I don't think. Now, does defense still win championships? Yeah, I do think so in the end. And do you have to have a running game? Absolutely. But everybody is now chasing the next Patrick Mahomes, right? They want to make the quarterback the be-all and end-all of the franchise. I mean, for God's sake, Kirk Cousins has made, what, $1 billion? I mean,
yeah,
Kirk Cousins. God bless him.
Highest paid athlete of all time.
He wasn't even the number 1 quarterback drafted on his own team. I mean, we forget this. He was drafted as the backup plan. And the guy has ended God love his agent. Whoever his agent is deserves every dollar they're getting. But yeah, at the end of the day, are they overpaying for Jennifer? Yes.
Now, just before you answer that question, I'm going to lay out his contract year by year. Now, until 2025, he will still be on his rookie deal. That's $15 million at the end of this year, 17 at the end of next.
Oh, by the
then
way,
he goes into his extension.
Hang on. No, he took a bunch of that in Bitcoin. No joke.
I don't doubt it. A lot of athletes did at the time.
And now, he lost his shirt.
Yep. So the rest of his contract after 2026, that's when his $275 million extension kicks in. That's $24 million in 2026, $35 million in 2027, $47 million in 2028. And now we get into some stupid numbers. He eats up $78.5 million in 2029. That is 21.9% of the entire cap space for the year. Then the following year, he gets $74.8 million into his bank account, which equals to 19.5% of the cap. Then he will be an unrestricted free agent, but the way his contract is shifted, he is a void contract for the next 2 years.
How much of that money is guaranteed?
$200 million.
Oh my God.
Yes. So between 2031.
Do they have a way of releasing him before those $74 and $78 million years, or are they locked in?
They are pretty much locked. Now, they could opt out before 2029. They would have to pay him $202 million straight up. And that comes out of dead cap. So anytime.
Eric, learn to throw a football. I'm telling my son right now. He's 17. So, we're starting over. The whole idea of going to college, learn anything. No. Learn to throw a football. Son, I mean, my God. With $78 million for 1 year. Okay. Divide that by 17 games. What is that? Like $5 million a game?
Just, yeah. Hold on.
I mean, Steve Majors was
that's
$4.3
million a game. Yeah, 4.3333 repeating.
$1 million a quarter.
Yeah, insane. Now, there's still more to his contract. He has 2 void years, so if they continue on his contract past 2029, they will have to pay him between these 2 void years while he's an unrestricted free agent. That's $21 million in 2031 and $7 million in 2032, which equals out to $28 million they're paying him after he leaves the team.
What is he, Shohei Ohtani?
Now, there's even more contract restrictions here. There is trade clauses up to about...
Wait. Hang on. This gets worse.
It gets worse. If you are against Trevor Lawrence, it does get worse because there are trade clauses to where if he is traded, the Jacksonville Jaguars will have to pay about 84% of his contract, whatever's remaining and guaranteed, which equals out to about $222 million.
Look, I don't. I'm speechless. I'm sorry, I'm speechless. I don't. What?
And to put in perspective, he is getting paid $55 million on average. Just that's an annual average. That is only behind Jared Goff, which is 57.3, and Joe Burrow, which is 62.9. So he's the 3rd highest paid quarterback in the NFL and the 3rd highest paid player in NFL history.
Okay, look, the idea but I sound like Joe Biden. I know that the number just keeps going up because the salary cap just goes up every year. But my God, I mean, that's insane. That is completely nuts what they're doing. And it's also the opposite of what is proving to work. Getting a rookie quarterback and winning within their first 5 years, winning when they're on their rookie deal, is what's working. in the NFL. And, you know, locking yourself in for that many years, I just think is completely insane.
There's
with
only
a guy who just really hasn't proven anything at the NFL level, except he has nice hair.
There's only one example in the past 25 years of my memory of a quarterback that's eating up just about 20% of the cap and still winning a championship, and that's Patrick Mahomes after he signed that $500 million deal with Kansas City. Now, Trevor Lawrence is not Patrick Mahomes. You know, Patrick Mahomes, 2-time MVP, 3-time Super Bowl, 3-time Super Bowl MVP. This guy is already one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. And Trevor Lawrence is getting paid equality to that. It's such an overpay, in my opinion. You know, guys like Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow, if you even want to say, you can think that they're overpaid, but truth be told, these guys have at least won something, you know. Justin Herbert, the offensive rookie of the year. Joe Burrow brought his team to a Super Bowl. These guys have reasonings to have this money. The only reason I've seen Jacksonville do this is they're afraid to lose their quote-unquote franchise QB. Now, I'm not saying Trevor Lawrence is a bad quarterback. I'm just saying he does not deserve to be the third highest paid quarterback in NFL history.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense at all to me. Just completely insane. But I also understand that if you don't have a top tier quarterback, it's very difficult to win. Speaking of quarterbacks, something that I want to point out that I looked up worst quarterback situations NFL. Okay. And I want to point out what the Yard Barker did here. They have the number 22 worst quarterback situation in the NFL is Derek Carr with the Saints, according to them. You know what's the 21st worst, according to them? The Steelers. Are you serious? The Steelers with Russell Wilson, who is a complete shell of himself. And I can't even remember his name. The kid from Ohio State who I told everybody was going to suck.
Justin Fields.
Yeah, at the NFL level, because he get a 5-cent head. And nobody believed me. And he came out in Chicago, and he's been terrible. I'm sorry, Christian. Objectively, just tell me, am I crazy that it pisses me off that somebody is saying a broke-down Russell Wilson and a complete miss as a top draft pick are a step ahead of Derek Carr?
No, I wouldn't be upset. I don't think Derek Carr has the worst quarterback situation in the NFL. I think that title's position to the Giants so far. They're paying Daniel Jones $40 million a year, and he looks like a nobody.
Oh my God!
It looks like he's going to lose his starting job to his backup from last year, DeVito. Tommy DeVito. You know.
Oh my God! Wow, 40 million. Wow.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
Wow. The other worst quarterback situations. I just want to go through these real quick. 21 Pittsburgh Steelers, 22 Saints. That's so dumb. 23 Cleveland Browns. That is never going to work out with him.
Yeah.
The Commanders brought in Jalen Daniels. I think he's a repeat.
Before we move on from the Cleveland Browns, I just want to ask you if you saw the photo shoot for them this year. They put Deshaun Watson in a prison cell for the photo shoot this year.
What?
Yeah, because it's the dog pound.
Oh my God!
They put Deshaun Watson in a prison cell.
Fire their PR team.
No,
you're fired.
Give them a raise. Oh God, that was hilarious to me. All right, continue.
The Commanders, Jaden Daniels, I think he's the second coming of
RBG.
Yeah, of RPG. I don't think he's going to last. He's just too small. JJ McCarthy to the Vikings.
Don't
Good
hate
luck, dude.
it.
He's got a great quarterback, but I'm not sure if he's anything more than a ball distributor. But then again, look at what Mr. Irrelevant is doing with the 49ers.
Look, it's not like he has a bad offense around him here. TJ
No.
Hawkinson, Jordan Addison, the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL now, Justin Jefferson.
Carolina Panthers. Okay, so it's a terrible team. Bryce Young's paying the price for that, so we'll see. Can he get any better? The Colts, Anthony Richardson, injured halfway through the first season. He's basically a rookie again. We'll see how that works out. The Giants, Danny Dimes, God bless it. That guy actually played a couple of great games that I watched when they let him do his thing.
Yeah.
But I think they are so bad as a team that he's not going to last.
It was a panic overpay for Daniel Jones. He took him to a playoff spot. In a really tough division. Yeah, in a really tough division, like around 2 years ago, and he was about to be unrestricted, and they signed him to that guaranteed contract, and it's just has not looked good since.
Drake May at the New England Patriots. Good luck with that.
Yeah.
Bo Nix and the Broncos. Bo Nix, here's my prediction, will not last 2 years on the Broncos, period. He'll be gone before the second year is out. And Sean Payton will not be the coach anymore.
This is Bo Nix for me. Denver's making the same mistake. He's Drew Lock 2.0.
Yeah,
he'll give you a great one game throughout the whole season, and then he's done.
The Raiders, God bless it. Christian, do you remember me asking the Raiders fans on this show 2 years ago, okay, if you get rid of Derek Carr, what's your plan? Okay, and guess what? You know what their choice is now? You got Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell.
Yep.
Why don't you bring in Joe Flacco?
I wouldn't be.
Could it get worse?
I wouldn't be against that.
Yeah.
You know me with Joe Flack.
Yeah, there you go. And then finally we come to the Tennessee Titans, which I don't think is fair. I think saying that Will Levis is the worst starting quarterback in the NFL is unfair. He had nothing last year, nothing to work with. And so now he has Calvin Ridley and D-Hop to throw to. The Titans drafted some offensive line help. They traded away Derrick Henry to get some draft picks so they could rebuild. I think Will Levis will be a really good quarterback in this league over a 15-year career. But I think the next 2 years are going to be rough. But it's not his fault. So making him the 32nd worst NFL starting quarterback, I think is unfair. I think the Raiders should be ranked below. I think Bo Nix should be ranked below. I think Drake May should be ranked below. I think Danny Dimes should be ranked below. I think Bryce Young should be ranked below. I think J.J. McCarthy and Daniels, and frankly, Deshaun Watson at the Browns
That's
should be
the worst
below.
Contract in sports history.
Oh, quite possibly.
I think
now
undoubtedly.
See how Jennifer does, right?
I think he's still going to be a good NFL quarterback. It's just he's going to be overpaid. But Deshaun Watson is atrocious, terrible. He damn right sucks. He should not be in the NFL for multiple reasons. And they had a chance to opt out of that contract, and they did not.
The way that whole thing, that is the ultimate panic button move. It's you can't do it.
Man, but what about the Texans in that trade, huh? How they benefited.
Wow, did they? I mean,
quickest rebuild of all time.
No, and you know what? I'm quite serious about this. If the Raiders, and everybody knows my history with the Raiders that knows the show. I was a Raiders fan for years. Grew up a Raiders fan. cried at the Immaculate Reception. You know, I mean, Ghost to the Post, the Holy Roller, I was there for all of it. I was the one kid rooting for the Raiders in my 8th grade class to beat the Minnesota Vikings. And the other guys beat the shit out of me when they won, you know, when the Raiders won because they were pissed off. You know, it's okay. It's okay. I'll take the beating. My team won the Super Bowl. And Fred Biletnikoff was the MVP, who was my guy. He was slow, white, and didn't look athletic, but he had great hands, which was me, except I didn't have great hands. Anyway, to get me to turn on that franchise took a lot. It took an enormous amount. Now, if they want to be successful again, the model in the NFL is don't be mediocre. Either suck or win.
There is philosophies to losing, my friends. And mediocrity is the worst thing you can do in any sports league. You either win and stay competitive, or you suck atrociously and rebuild. And then there's teams like the Raiders, like the Colts, like the Broncos
that are just hanging on to 8 wins. And you can't get any better that way.
No, they sit around and float around 500, and they bring in the checks from the league media, from the league jersey sales, and don't care.
You know why they float? Because they're that thing on top of the toilet bowl. That's why they float. Yeah. Just putting it out there. No, if I was the Raiders owner, well, first of all, I wouldn't be, because I'd have to cut my own hair. But if I was the Raiders owner, my message to my coach is, hey, I'm going to give you a 5-year contract. And you're going to get paid a lot more in years 4 and 5, because in years 1, 2, and 3, the team might suck. I mean, I'm not telling you to lose, but I'm just telling you I'm going to give you the rope to get better so that they know what they're supposed to do. Lose. Lose for the next 2 years. Honestly, if I was the Raiders, I would be looking to move, the receiver from Green Bay.
Davante Adams.
I'd be looking to move Davante Adams. I'd be looking to move Max Crosby. Both those guys deserve a chance to win somewhere else, because they're not going to win with the Raiders for the next 3 years. And imagine the draft pieces you could get if you were willing to move both those players.
Now, Davante Adams, I completely agree with you. He has 2 years left on his deal. You can ride out the rest of this year if you want to see where it leads, and then you have another year to deal with that. But he should be gone before that contract's up. Max Crosby is still only 26 years old, folks. He should not be out of a Raiders uniform for the rest of his life.
If you decide that is the answer, then you have to rebuild
around
him.
And that's what they should do. And they did. They got Christian Wilkins from the Miami Dolphins, who I think is going to greatly improve their defensive line. They really need to address the secondary sometime in this next year's draft, free agency, in the trade market. But the Raiders are not that far away from a playoff spot.
Oh, stop it.
No, let's be real. They're not that far away from a playoff spot. They're in a division where
their quarterback is either Gardner Minshew or Aiden O'Connell.
Gardner Minshew was one dropped pass away from a playoff spot. Let's not forget that. I don't think the Colts are that much better than the Raiders.
The Raiders have the Jim Harbaugh Chargers, the Kansas City Chiefs.
Okay.
Well, the Broncos suck.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. The Broncos are going to suck. Jim Harbaugh, who cares? I don't think the Chargers are going to do much this year.
Not their first 2 years. I don't think the Chargers are going to be great.
Their only real competition this year is the Kansas City Chiefs, and they beat them.
The AFC.
And they beat them.
The AFC North is going to send at least 2 teams to the playoffs.
Yeah.
And the Texans are going, and that probably brings another team from the AFC South.
I don't think the Colts, Jags, I don't think anyone else from that division is going to win. Not saying they can't. I just don't think they will.
Well, the Jaguars have a great quarterback.
Apparently. All right. Before we move on, I want one more opinion off you. Justin Jefferson became the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history. That is 4 years, $140 million with $110 guaranteed. Is every penny of that worth it if you're a Minnesota Viking?
He's the best receiver in the NFL.
Yeah.
I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to not pay him? You got to pay him. Oh, by the way, UFL championship prediction this weekend. I said at the beginning of the season that Wade Phillips' San Antonio Brahmas were going to surprise everybody. They were picked to finish like 7th or 8th.
1 minute.
And I said they're going to be your surprise team. Now, unfortunately, they just beat the team that I picked to win the championship in the Battlehawks. The Battlehawks chose conference championship weekend to play the worst game I've seen them play in 2 years. And the Brahmas beat the you-know-what out of them. The Brahmas are a plus 150 to plus 175 to win the UFL championship. That's where my money would be. I would take 30% of my stack and put them on them to win outright, and I would put 70% on the Brahmas plus 3.5.
All right, everyone. That is Loud's UFL pick for the week. We have been Steer the Line, and you can catch us next Friday for more NFL Now.